All right, cool. What's up, everybody? It's Sanjay back with another episode. And this episode is going to be about how to make money off of something that you love. Okay, so I got a lot of friends, a lot of footballers, a lot of people in different industries that, or even people that just work regular 9 to 5s or work whatever hours, doing whatever job, whether it's in a restaurant serving or some hard labor or who knows what behind the desk. Sure, it ranges all over the place. Even footballers and athletes, whatever the case is. If you want to be able to make more money doing something that you love that's going to be able to be sustainable as you grow older and turn that into something more, um, and for it not to feel like work, the first step is going to have to be choose something that you really do enjoy doing that is going to have an impact on people's lives. So, for example, if you're going to be a youth soccer coach, right, or a private trainer for whatever sport, um, that's a great career field to be in because you have a large platform, right, to influence the minds of those coming next after you, right, to do better and be better, blah, 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 blah. Not just whatever sport, whatever skill it is, but also in their mindset and their mental resilience and their ability to succeed and think and all that good stuff, right? So something you want to do, if you're good, maybe let's say at soccer, let's say you're good at volleyball, basketball, sport, like a skill, right? Boom. Now you have the platform to say, hey, I've got to this level, I've done this. I can teach you how to get to this level, right? You can't really teach to go farther. I believe you can't really teach someone to go farther than you've been personally. And what you've gone through personally. And now, don't get me wrong, you can coach somebody that ends up going farther, right? But I'm not going to go and coach a guy to go into, let's say, the English Premier League, you know what I mean? Somewhere I would love to be and aspire to be, right? But I'll coach somebody as good as I can get them, you know what I mean? To whatever level we can say I'm at. And if they can make that jump, then we can make that jump. Now, once I get to the, let's say, English Premier League, right? Then I can go back and say, hey, I made it here. I know exactly what it takes to get here, and I can teach that. But if I haven't done it, I can't necessarily go and say, oh, this is exactly what it takes. I don't know exactly what it takes. Yes. So for instance, um, a soccer trainer I know who always had these injuries with his knees, you know what I mean? And was the top player, blah, blah, smartest, good decision making, all that. And then the same kid he trained for years was just as good, ended up being so good. And then what ended up becoming his downfall was the same injury that that trainer had, right? So just a small example, not the same thing for everybody, but I personally believe you can only coach the level you've been at. Yes. So let's say you have an art of braiding hair, right? So if you want to braid hair, you already all. I think the cliche I believe is a $10 skill, right? If you find a skill that somebody would pay $10 for, a service or a skill that somebody would pay $10 for, right? If you can get 10 people involved paying you $10 for that skill, now you're at $100 and you keep growing that and growing that and growing that to 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, whatever the case is. You start learning how to squeeze things together that make more money in less time, right? But it all begins with that first service or skill, right? Whatever you're offering, you know what I mean, in order to receive that income. Um, so let's say, let's go back to coaching soccer like I do myself, right? Or private training, right? So because I've gotten to a certain level, before it was college, then it was a different level, then it was a different level, then even when I went pro and going on, right? I could teach more as I learn more and I do every single day, right? So when I'm with that kid, right? They're paying me whatever X amount of money, right? Let's say they're paying you X, right? If you are getting paid X, you have to prove that you're worth X. Yes, you have to prove that your sessions are worth it. And if you're smart, you're trying to prove that your sessions are more worth it, and they're actually getting a deal by whatever you're charging, right? And now maintaining that client to keep them coming and coming and coming comes down to you as a person. You have to be able to have those conversations, look that person in the eye. Your energy is gonna feed off them. Their energy gonna feed off you. You're gonna feel those things, the unspoken things. You're gonna feel that between each other. And when you're smooth in a conversation, speaking, when you're smooth in whatever situation occurs, right? Maybe something doesn't happen necessarily you want to happen. Maybe something negative happens, right? Maybe something really good happens, right? How you react and deal with it with them, how you make them feel, on top of how you help their kid, right? And of course, the results never lie. So if you're training a kid for whatever amount of time, and that kid his goal is to do this and that, and they get to a point where they're still not doing this and that, then there's a problem now, especially if you're charging a large amount of money, right? Um, so it's always good to start small. So if let's say we're starting from scratch, whatever $10 skill you have to be willing to first of all have the time, right? So do that thing for free. Right. So one thing when I first started coaching soccer was I'd go do free clinics everywhere. And those free clinics in certain locations that I would scout out, I'd be able to go and say, hey, I do this for free, bro. Come hang out. Come, let me teach you a little bit. And then I make sure they're engaged, have fun, give everything, give my everything to show them, hey, I'll give this to you for free. Yes. Now, once they buy and they see the benefit, then now again, it comes down to the person you are, your communication, your ability to think, and react in order to keep them and now get their money out of their pocket. Yeah, of course they're benefiting because they love it because it's free. It's a free session. All right. But now what are you going to charge them? Is that worth it to them? Blah, 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 blah. All right. It goes so deep. And so now your job, all right, even if you secure a client paying whatever amount of money, your job is to keep growing yourself in that field. As long as you keep growing in that field, not just coaching, becoming a better coach, but you as a person becoming better at it. And whatever skill you're teaching, hopefully you're doing that as well. Right. So because it's something that you love and you don't just fall in love with the coaching side of it, you're still doing that, right? And growing in that, that's going to allow you to keep having that hope, building that faith, building that connection with the kid, showing them, hey, I'm not just giving you what I have left or the level I've made it to. I'm going to say, hey, I'm an unlimited resource. I'm still growing and growing and growing and growing. And I'm showing you what I've learned so far, but we're both still here growing together. You know what I mean? So it's insane to see little kids that will idolize me, right? Or think that I'm this and that. And they'll see videos, they see me play, they see me do the tricks and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not proving to them or showing to them that I'm this. I'm showing to them, hey, we're the same. You know what I mean? As long as you do these things, I'm explaining in detail how to do these things, you'll achieve this, right? And then once the results hit, then that's the best way, of course, to retain customers and keep customers. And word of mouth, I would argue, always is going to be the best form of marketing. Right, you can spend all this money, spend all this time shipping your place out, doing all this, getting all these ads, all this, getting your name out there, right? And then they send the clients and you can't keep clients. All right. If you have a client, your job is to keep that client. Yes. And your job is to make that client feel the love and blah, 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 and get the results. And then, you know what I mean? And everyone around is just positive and benefiting. A lot of the times, on top of the results with the kids, it's also about how they start thinking, how they start acting at home, and the influence I have on them. It's kind of like an older brother or a good mentor. And then the parents are paying for not just to get training, but they're paying for the person to be with you. So honestly, you become the product in whatever thing you're teaching, right? Whatever thing you're asking for, whatever service you're providing. Yes. And then that way you grow that to a certain level, right? A lot of times you see businesses fail because they get to a certain level and they lose that connection with the customer, that connection with those clients, because it's all about the money now, being efficient. The product isn't as good. You're not coming and talking to people, and they're not feeling like they're part of it, and then you end up losing that, right? So to be able to maintain that as you grow still comes down to you as a person. Everybody has bad days, all right. Everybody has certain situations where they can't control their mood, right? Not you can beat that all, right? So I'm not saying everybody should have that. I think everybody should not have that. We should all be positive all the time, right? But we're in a world where things have corrupted us, and our daily routine, our actions have slightly been intoxicated with whatever you want to call it. Um, and so when you have those issues, let's say you're having a bad night and you don't have enough sleep and you oversleep, or you miss an appointment, or you're late for an appointment, or you say the wrong thing, who knows what could happen? So many things happen on a daily basis every day. Um, First of all, are you on top? Are you disciplined enough to not let those things happen? Or are you disciplined enough to set things in stone so when those things happen, you're still okay? Or is it every single time that customer is going to feel like, oh, this guy's not giving me everything, or I feel like I'm wasting my money here, or he doesn't value my time as much, or you know what I mean? Always rescheduling, always being late, showing up barely there, barely giving them time. You know what I mean? One big trick I always have is it's not even a trick, it's just me as a person, and I always schedule it to give myself more time, and it takes away from my time, and I'm not making as much money when I allocate all this time to give. But a lot of time, I'm always giving extra time to kids in sessions, right? And their parents and everything. And I'm giving them myself in those times, showing them it's not just time spent. You're getting better here and you're getting real stuff from it. Um, and like I said, you're building that rapport with the parent and the kid. You know what I mean? And as long as you're having the results and doing the right things, everything comes easy, right? And so all that again comes down to you as a person, how to act and how to believe and blah 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 blah. You can't teach something that you aren't. You know what I mean? No matter how many books you read, no matter how many, when I look somebody in the eye, you look somebody in the eye, you see what it is, right? You feel what it is, right? And so you ask me what other steps can I take in order for me to achieve this as a person? And let's say, for example, you got to have a routine in the morning, right? You have a routine in the morning, you're going to be able to stay disciplined. That routine ends up becoming less of a burden after a certain amount of time because part of your habits, and those habits end up reaping the reward at a later point on. You know what I mean? You start doing this for 1 or 2 days and expect all these great things to happen, right? You may see some benefits, some results, but you got to be consistent with it for the long term down the road for you to be that type of person. You have to sacrifice who you are for who you want to be. So, for example, let's say you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is right on your phone scrolling, or you have the news on the TV, or you're right away talking to somebody in an argument. You know what I mean? You have no peace for yourself to begin. You start your day in a certain way, and now the rest of your day, your mood is a reflection of that. Your connection with your clients, whoever you're talking to, ends up being a reflection of that. All right. And it all started because you didn't get control of your life first thing in the morning. You didn't take custody of your life, as Ed Millett says. You didn't take custody of your life first thing in the morning, right? And get disciplined. So, like, one thing that I'm very big on is as soon as I wake up, making sure, and like I said, Ed Millett, he's great in the way he describes this. He's talking about putting a shield on your body, a shield of armor on for the rest of the day. All right. So now you're strengthening your mind, you're strengthening your belief, you're strengthening your faith, your love, all that stuff, and then your energy. And as soon as you go out, you know something's gonna hit and you're ready for it, right? Versus something hits and you're taking hit and hit and hit, and you come home and your armor is so injured. Versus you're sharpening your sword, you know what I mean, being ready to go fight that battle. You're ready, you're excited, you're eager, versus just another day in war. You know what I mean? Like nobody likes that. So how do we strengthen that? Cold showers, cold therapy easily. I think everybody's, it's not cliche yet. It should be cliche, but it's like 95% of the world is still so oblivious to it. Hopefully 90% by now. And who knows when, but hopefully the majority will catch up and get on this train. But like the cold exposure, whether it's cryotherapy, whether it's cold showers, ice baths, cold plunges, jumping in a cold lake if you live somewhere, who knows, your pool is cold somewhere and you jump in at night in the morning or the first thing, who knows what you do, right? A little cold shower in the morning. Um, I'm so big on fasting, all right? And I'm talking about everyday fasting, whether it's till 12, right? From midnight to noon, 12 hours or 14 hours, whatever the case is. I still drink my coffee and my water. I'll take a couple of vitamins, right? But just not eating any food. So I'm not lazy. I'm not lethargic. My body's using all the energy it can and focusing on making sure I'm focused on what I'm doing, which is normally training in the morning, and getting my workout in fasted. So my body is able to stay lean. Sure, there's so many other benefits to that cold exposure and the fasting. Um, I'm somebody that really enjoys the use of things like ashwagandha and turmeric and magnesium and B12 and all these extra vitamins, you know what I mean, that help supplement what we don't get in our food. And a healthy eater as well. I like to cheat a lot. I do have a sweet tooth, right? But staying away much away you can from sugar. Um, oh my goodness, processed foods and all these things that are just fake. All of it is fake. Do your research on your food, right? Organic food that you want to have. Um, at this point, you know what I mean? One day I want to be able to have my own garden and really grow my own food and know exactly what I'm eating and putting in my body to the T. But it's so difficult in the world we live in now. Another piece that's been so important for me, especially as a footballer, right? The root of your athleticism is in your feet. And that would be grounding. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I have to do a cold shower. I also drink a bottle of water. I don't care what you drink or what you do, but I drink a bottle of water just to flush my system, keep me clean. But I go out onto a grass field and I walk barefoot and I feel the earth charging my body up as I'm breathing. I'm doing breathing exercises after that as well. I like to ground for 10 to 30 minutes, depending on the time I have in the sunlight. Yeah, I like to feel the sun, not too long, but just enough. You know what I mean? Just this, like Ronaldo said, just enough, right? To feel it and recharge. It's like Superman in the sun. When he's thinking of sun, the sun charges him, right? So I'm charging from the ground, the grass on my feet, um, the sun, breath work, right? Not even just meditation, like the Wim Hof breathing. So when I do cryotherapy, I'm doing the Wim Hof breathing. So instead of doing 3.5 minutes, I'm doing my full, but my beginner Wim Hof is like 11 minutes long, 3 sets of, I'm doing 30 deep breaths, right? One, two, up to 30 on the last one in, breathe out, but I'm holding it. In the first round is 30 seconds, then a minute, then a minute and a half. And every time I breathe in, all right, I'm holding for 15 seconds and then I get back into round two. So you learn about that. Wim Hof, WIM space HOFF, Wim Hof. Please do your research on this guy, and tap into that. And then meditation, whether it's yoga nidra or just a regular meditation, I really started liking, like Andrew Huberman was talking about, using that double inhale. Oof. doing that for 5 minutes straight every time I'm working out, or something's bothering me, maybe stress is coming up, maybe I feel some anxiety coming up. Doing that always clears it real quick, and I like to do it sometimes just to be calm and peaceful, just breathing, or just a calm meditation, feeling the blood rush through my body, feeling the teeth in my mouth, my brain and my skull looking at my pineal, like looking straight to my forehead, nothing's just staring there as I'm breathing all the way deep, following my breath, right? Following my breath with my mind into my nostrils, all the way into my throat, into my chest, into whatever part of my stomach it does can go into. Then I all the way back out the same way, over and over and over and over again for as long as I can. Um, Journaling, meditation, oh, having a vision statement, have a vision statement I read every single morning. It's so crucial, right? And in the same place that I'm grounding, the same place that I'm meditating, the same place that I'm doing my breath work, right? Building that energy in that spot, building that routine every single day, um, putting the energy into what I want in my life, seeing it. You know what I mean? A vision board that I have on my wall, that I have my same. I took a picture, put a screenshot on my phone to where I want to go, what I want to achieve. I read it, then writing. And every time I write, I'm not really writing about much, but I'm grateful. I write about my gratitude, what I'm grateful for, and then what I will achieve. And I always write it as if I've already achieved it. And I always speak it as if I've already achieved it. I believe it's already happened. It's just got to happen. You know what I mean? I know in this year I did this, but it's got to happen. It's coming. And I believe it. And I believe it. And I believe it. And I put so much into it. And your thoughts. What did he say? Ed Millett said today in a podcast I was listening to. He said, your thoughts are the currency in which you purchase your dreams. All right. How powerful is that? Your thoughts are the currency in which you purchase your dreams. And so you have to sacrifice who you are for what you want to become. All right. You have to, everything you think is what you become. All right. So you have to be able to control your mind and put those thoughts all the time in that visualization, and be there and be there and be there. And once you're there, you'll see how the money comes. You know what I mean? You'll see how the love comes. Everything you want in your life, the door is now open, fly open, and everything's coming to you. You're manifesting, you're attracting who you are and what you are and what you're thinking about. And if you're not doing those things, then you have a massive issue. You know what I mean? Getting enough sleep as well, recovering your body, um, working just as hard as you recover, right? And then your relationship with people are so important. You have to have those good relationships with people. Um, you can be isolated all the time, but then your relationships don't challenge you. And it's so important, as annoying and stressful as it can be, it's important to have people around you that are like-minded. But also when you don't, seeing if you're disciplined enough to still control your emotions when you're annoyed, when something's bothering you, when somebody's insulting you, how do you react still? You know what I mean? So having those tests every day to prove your growth. You don't want to become stagnant, think you're doing something all right, so long, doing it perfect, and you think it's always perfect. It keeps going. No, it's not going to be. There's always going to be bumps in the road, right? No matter how good life is, something bad is always, you know what I mean? Somebody is going to pass eventually. Something wrong is going to happen. You know what I mean? So you want to be prepared always. You know it's going to happen. So you don't want to be chasing and creating it. As soon as something bad happens, you're ready to deal with it. You know what I mean? And it's something that's going to happen always, unfortunately. No, that's just the life we live. It's your belief in who you are and what you think. Um, and then that transitions into whatever service you're selling or offering to people, and people will spend, and I mean, that money on you if they value your time, you know. All right, it's a lot rambling and speaking, so till next time, forever exponential, baby.